But yeah, it is kind of dumb. I kind of like his new costume here, Grimbor.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's probably I mean, that's great drawing. That's probably my favorite of his in this book, but it's pretty off-brand. Like it makes him kind of generic looking. I'm not sure you would do differently, but
yeah, I mean, I feel like for
maybe
a
maybe if he still had the chest hair on the top, maybe I don't know.
yeah, I mean for a '90s update of his
Mm-hmm.
old costume, like his old costume was, um, it was
Leather Daddy,
almost yeah, it was almost like the Cosmic Boy naked Cosmic Boy costume, but maybe
right,
with like a couple more straps that went across, and then he had chains here and there, right?
right.
And this one he has some shoulder pads, and his body is more covered. There's no little bit of bare flesh on his arm, and that's it.
Right, right. He's
Uh,
definitely dialed it back.
yeah, but he's got that kind of ribbed like Colossus armor
Mhm.
on his legs there. Uh,
Yeah, if
oh,
you
but
take that, oh, go ahead.
I wanted to go back to Charma again. I forgot. I looked her up. I was like, in the old days, he was teamed up with her too, and she was his girlfriend or something.
Well, yeah, almost every time, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Like two or three
Either that
times.
or he loved her or he was, yeah,
Right. And I'm like, I thought that this was going to be her in this issue, but
right.
then he's like, this is my daughter. And so I looked up, like, what happened to the real one? And she was killed in issue 240 of Superboy.
Hmm.
And so I guess somehow she had a kid and who grew up to be just her. And then then online, they say that this girl, what's her name? Conchita. Her name is well, shit. Where does it say? Cocheta Drisden.
Hmm.
It says that her first appearance was in issue 40 or 41 of this series, and she's with a gang or a group of prisoners who'd had their minds erased or um or they've been brainwashed by the dominators.
Was it the same group of prisoners that she's trying to escape with in this issue?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
They're just kind of random people, but I got the impression they don't say what her name is or who she is. I thought she was the real Charma back in that issue because I didn't know the real one had been killed. But they show her
Right.
behaving the same way, and I feel like this is almost like a, a repair to
Misdirection.
that story where somebody forgot that Charma was dead and they put her in issue 40,
Oh, a
and now
repair. Okay.
Tom McGraw is going to fix that and be like, no, that's the daughter.
You said it was in 41?
40 or 41. It's the one that the has wildfire on the cover. It says, "Guess who's back?" Wrong on the cover. And that was another weird mistake that evidently they made in that issue by giving Drake Burroughs a brother, which he never had before. I guess like it points out that Drake Burroughs was an orphan, and so
Right.
out of the blue, he has a brother who is also an energy being in a containment suit. And I guess maybe the beer bombs would just chalk that up to like this is something that happened with the Glorith verse changes,
Right.
like Kid Quantum or something. Like, yeah, this other stuff happened, and we're only telling you right now. You know,
I don't even remember what you're talking about. Like the wildfire in that turns out to be the brother.
right? His name is Squire Burroughs.
How does he end up with the same powers?
That's
Or
what I
does he?
thought. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a trope, especially in Legion. You know, you got the Bureau lad's brother.
Hmm.
I guess
I
you
mean, I
could
like.
maybe argue Lightning Lass when she first shows up. She seems to
Uh,
be Lightning Lad.
yeah. Well, and yeah, even Kid Quantum wound up having a sister who had the same powers. This is in the reboot era, though.
Right. It's a
But
sister.
once I found out that Drake Burroughs is supposed to have been an orphan,
Hmm.
uh, it uh, it really made me think like, oh, they should have made him Dirk Morgna's long lost brother. Would have been perfect.
Weird. Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't do that. Like
Well,
they could
just
have
because
been like
he's an orphan doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't have a brother, right?
well, that's true. I think the well, like you have a character who's an orphan means that you haven't introduced their family before.
Right. Maybe he met him later in life.
Could be.
They were
And then they both
reunited
got
during the 5 year gap. Yeah.
and they both got vaporized and turned into a blob.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I've read that one since it first came out. Of course, I reread the cover every time I flip through it. And I guess I assumed that when it says it's not what you think, it had to do with the Sun Boy. You know how Sun Boy was sort of, no, it was the other way around, right? Like, now, you remember like Sun Boy was he was inhabiting his body or something like that. But it was the other way around, so that wouldn't have made sense.
Right. Yeah,
Wildfire was inhabiting Sun Boy's body.
that's right. And it was a little bit later on.
Yeah,
Like it was after this. It must have been a Tom McCraw invention or a Mark Waid invention because that
right.
set up their end of an era storyline a little bit.
That's right. I kind of expected once they did reboot that would have some effect on those characters. Like maybe those characters were going to be sort of merged together in post Zero Hour because they
Oh,
had them joined together at
right.
the end.
Yeah, I think that the only reason they did that is so that they could have a adult son boy there.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't see it coming, I guess. Like it
I
was a
thought it
good
was a
enough
good scene.
it's a good enough idea that it made sense to have Wildfire like use Sun Boy's body that's invulnerable to heat to
Right.
be his.
They had it was building up though. I don't think they pulled it out of the blue. They were implying something was going on with him. Like his powers were somehow limited and different, and he wasn't
Mm,
telling anybody what was going on.
yeah, I don't remember what happened. Like
We should
those
have
are my
picked one of
least.
those. I feel like those are pretty good issues.
Oh, the ones that Mark Waid wrote.
Mhm.
Yeah, they're good. They're well done compared to
Right.
some other stuff.
I don't know. Stuart Animan's artwork goes a long way with me in these later ones. Like, I just love the way he draws a lot of those characters, especially. I like his take on Pharrell Gand a lot.
We should talk more about Christopher Taylor's artwork.
You're right. Right. Oh yeah,
the,
but where were we? Yeah, so sort
there
of
was a
go ahead.
there was a part in here where he's showing Rush like, oh, she's having trouble like coming to terms with her super fast metabolism, so she's doing like 20 computer games at one time to keep
Mhm.
herself occupied, and she's doing some kind of computer game with like these anime mechs, which I think look pretty good. Like I think these are the best drawings. Like this guy should have been drawing like a Gundam comic or something.
All right. Yeah,
That's probably the best looking stuff here.
it's probably like more in his like personal wheelhouse or something, and they said just come up with some kind of game idea here, and he
Yeah,
did
but then
did this because of
on the next page, he draws this spacecraft that looks exactly like the way Immonen was drawing them in the other issues.
mhm.
But yeah, there's a lot of speed lines. I think this guy was watching a lot of anime,
Right.
but I feel like he's kind of trying to do some Giffen type of stuff. Like he's doing
Yeah.
the 9 panels here. There's a couple of 9 panel pages. And he does like the Giffen profile panels a lot. Like this one.
Yeah, I do wonder if some of that was editorial dictate, like they were like, we need to ease out of
It could be,
that. Like they definitely end up abandoning it. But even Inneman was doing those for a little while.
yeah.
There's this one panel where like trying to find it where Kent Shakespeare's getting like conked on the head, and there's like I don't know, connect. Oh, it's on page 21. And like the lines are like going all the way around his neck, and like his shirt is dropped out.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool.
I didn't even notice that. That is a little, it's odd, huh? But it does look kind of cool.
Right.
It almost needs like a clonk sound effect or something.
Right. You got the Kelly Jones on the left there.
I never really got into Kelly Jones. Did you?
You know, not at first. Like at first, I didn't like the way he drew Dead Man. Now that I look at it, I like it better. At some point, he was doing one of the main Batman books, and I started to like him enough that I was actually reading that Batman title for his art, which is like the only time in my whole life I regularly read Batman. They're like, 8 issues or something.
Huh. Yeah, I think I read Detective, but it was when
Right.
Brayfogle was doing it.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I've always liked Batman, but the titles always, there were so many of them, it was very hard to get into those books. Like if you just picked one up, because it was always in the middle of some extended storyline that was crossing over into the other Batman book or books.
Yeah, I think when they started doing that was either when I quit or
Right.
after I'd already quit. Like when I was reading Detective, it was always distinct from Batman, and they brought
Right.
in those. Shadow of the Bat came later, right?
I've whined about it to you probably 10 times before, but like Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man all had the same weird pacing because they had so many books. It seemed like it was super decompressed. Like they were like, we need to fill these pages, so let's do a whole issue on Cat Grant or something, like, or some like third string supporting cast character or something.
Yeah.
Lots of like non-action issues where they're just talking, following up on what's going on with Perry White's son or something like that.
When they were doing Superman like that, I just don't understand what the point was. I don't know, like, why did you need to do it that way? Like, why couldn't this be one book a month that's this thick?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
right.
It just seems like there's like, no, we've got to have a book every week, and it's got to be 32 pages, and it's got to cost 75 cents. How about instead, though, that you make a book that puts all these into one book, and you could even sell it for a little bit less than the 4 books combined price. And I don't know, I'd have something cool, and you would be doing like a manga phone book type thing or something.
Well, I know at some point Spider-Man, and I've never actually seen these issues, and I don't know how long they did it. I just read about it. Like, I don't remember. Maybe on the Comics Reporter, and they talked about it. Like, they canceled all the Spider-Man books except Amazing, and then it went weekly, and they just put all the teams on the same thing, and that almost makes more sense to me. Like, because then there's sort of a order to it all. You don't have to like try to figure out which one to read first, whatever.
Yeah, that seems logical for it to come out every week. Is that what you said they did?
Right.
Yeah.
Because there were like 4 Spider-Man books at the time, so they just turned it into a weekly book.
Yeah. No, it is kind of weird that it's like, they want me to read every issue of every Superman comic, but there's Superman, there's Adventures of Superman, there's Action, and
Mhm.
there's Man of Steel or whatever.
Right.
Well, why do you need four different names? Why don't you just call it Superman and it comes out
And
every
then they had like Mana Tomorrow or something for that fifth week. Like every 3 months or so, you
Oh
end up
yeah,
with an
like
extra week.
uh-huh. Was that what that was? Man of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the what when Justice League did that, there was the quarterly special or something, right?
Which were surprisingly good for a
Those
while
did tend to be
anyway.
good. Yeah. Yeah, the first two or three or four of them.
For as thick as they are, you'd think they'd have some really crappy artwork. They were good.
Oh yeah. No, the Justice League Antarctica.
Yeah,
That might have
that
been
one's
an annual,
awesome.
not a quarterly. That one was really good.
I don't know. Or was it a one shot?
No, I think it was
Like,
the annual, actually.
okay. Is that is that the one where they're all facing the wrong direction?
I think so.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
there's the one with the magnifying glass and they're all real small. That one was really good.
Oh yeah. All I remember is there's one where they like I think they had it's like the Justice League America annual, but they like cross out America and they put Antarctica because like in order to not have these guys be annoying, they
Right,
make them into Justice Leaguers and they put them
right.
as far away
We're
as they
opening a new
possibly can.
branch in Antarctica.
Right. And then there's
Report for duty immediately.
like half of the issue, or not half, but there's this big section of the issue where there's like a big collapse, like a snow collapse, and they're trapped under the
Right,
ice or something.
right.
I don't know. I
It was like what are those guys called? Like the Injustice Gang or something. They had become
yeah
so comical and pathetic by that point that they were basically they weren't villains anymore. Like Major
right
Disaster and Clock King and all those guys weren't they largely that team?
yeah they were total comic relief
Big
whenever they showed up.
Sur,
Yeah, they were just incompetent.
yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty good comics. I haven't read them since then, but
You
I
know,
liked
we're
them a lot.
reviewing a really good issue when we spend most of the time talking about another comic series.
And I think this Batman is kind of good here. This whatever he is in the Batman Dark Joker the Wild comic book,
Right.
whatever this Batman demonic thing is, he looks pretty cool.
Man, baddish character.
But yeah, not too much is cool in this actual Legion comic. Oh, I messed up my blankie here.
Yeah, we didn't go over all the. There's lots of attempts at like sentimental saccharine moments in this, where like a lot of awe moments where he's like talking to the kids, just
Yeah.
really cringy.
Well, he kind of did that back in the early issues where they were introducing him. He kind of had that same kind of relationship, that big brother relationship with this Ivy character.
I know,
But
but I
it's
don't remember it reading this badly. Maybe it did.
yeah, she's like, you left me alone again. And
Right,
it's like, well, you're a little kid, and this guy
right,
is a superhero who's gonna get killed. And
right.
I don't know, the fact that he can't get that through to her, or I don't know, it's kind of weird.
Right.
But also, yeah, you can't tell how old or young this character is supposed to be. Like,
Yeah, she
um,
looks a lot older in the Giffen poster. Like,
well, here he Christopher Taylor gives her kind of an old face,
mm-hmm.
and uh, I don't know. Yeah, like I said, he can't draw kids very well.
I
But
kind of remember like it being sort of funny when he did get de-aged because I think he was like itching to get back out there and like away from this kid. And then once he was de-aged, he got stuck there with her.
did Christopher Taylor draw that issue where he gets de-aged?
No, I don't think so. I think it's back to Stuart Inman after this.
Yeah, probably so. Um, but it's her little friends here in on the quarantine hospital world.
Mm-hmm.
They all have superpowers, and there's a kid who's like Tellus from
Right.
from Hycrius.
Legion.
I'm trying to think of his planet. It's
Right.
Hycrius, and then and his name is Link, Lynk, Link, because he can form a link telepathically with people. And there's another kid who
Well, wait, what did Tellus? Didn't Tellus do that?
Yeah, he has the same powers, same telepathic powers as Tellus.
Right.
But this guy's
Right.
name is Link.
Mm-hmm.
And this other kid is named, here they are. This guy, his name is Scales. He's scaly, like a scaly lizard humanoid. But his power is that he can turn into just a full-on lizard. And his name is Scales. And this guy, this pink guy up here, he has the power to absorb the energy from, like in this issue, he's here. Grimbor has put these weird manacles on to Kent Shakespeare that's sapping his powers, and this kid Sponge uses his powers to take the energy out of those manacles and vaporize them or whatever. His name is Sponge, Spunge. He sponges up the powers, and that's his name. Well, I think I'm just trying to make the point that their names are all very contrived, kind of stupid.
Do you think McCraw was hoping he could like launch a spin-off title of these guys?
Maybe. I mean, I'm sure every writer hopes that they can get a spin-off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think this is a very good idea. Or like these are guys that are going to maybe be the new Legion Academy characters.
Right. Yeah, it's very weird because it's also around the same time over in Marvel they had like an X-Men spinoff, a spinoff of a spinoff with a bunch of young mutant kids, and they had a little pink guy and a little green guy, just like these two characters. Their names were Artie and Leech, and Leech could like take he was the green guy, and he could take people's powers, like cancel them out or suck them out or something like that. But they looked visually almost identical to these characters.
Was Leech his actual name, or was it his code name?
I guess it's his code name. I don't think we ever learned his real name. He was like one of these. It's hard not to go too deep. But like he was like, there's a bunch of mutants who lived under the street named the Morlocks.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And he was one of those guys.
Oh.
And he's only ever known as Leech, but he's supposed to be like 8, 9 years old or something like that.
Sounds a lot like Sponge.
Yep. And he's always paired with this guy named Artie, who's also around that age, who looks very close to this.
And could Artie turn into a lizard?
No, I think he had like hologram powers or something like that. But he couldn't talk. Can they both talk? They can talk, yeah.
Yeah, I think they all talk.
Right.
They just have unoriginal names.
Right. Can you see this?
Yes. What the hell? You have to send me that. They look exactly the same. What the hell?
It's really strange.
What are they thinking about?
Trying to get some of that X money.
This guy Sponge, he acts like he gets like giddy when he sucks up enough energy and like he's drunk or something.
Right.
And that kind of reminds me of some other character, maybe. It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know who that is. I think somebody else does that, where they act loopy when they use their power. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. He draws kids weird.
Yeah, that's kind of a widespread problem in the superhero books.
Yeah.
Like they don't there's they're so focused on drawing these like Charles Atlas characters. They have no idea how to draw like children. They just draw short adults.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking at the Garrett and Rands here, and he's real chunky.
Uh-huh.
Like his height is about right, but his
Right. It's really strange how squat he is.
Yeah. It's like he's actually wearing a straight up Colossal Boy costume that Colossal Boy wore, and it's all baggy on him.
Right. Well, that would make sense, but it looks tight on him. This looks like he looks like. Do you remember there were all those news stories about the kid who was like bodybuilding and he was like 8 years old and he was super ripped? It was just really unnaturally grotesque.
I think I do kind of remember that. Yeah, weird. Maybe that's what the Validus plague virus did to him.
Man.
Made him all muscly and ripped. They show Garrett and Rance's bedroom here, or his quarters or whatever, and he's a huge fan of the Legionnaires. He's got a big poster of the founders, big picture of Wildfire, a model of Block, and the headquarters. It's pretty cool. I wouldn't mind all that stuff.
You don't already have all that.
I don't have any of that.